chest cavity concoctions.
A couple days ago, I posted a video on Youngblood where I discussed some critiques against him, why I don't think he's very punk rock, and obviously what it means to be punk rock in the first place. And I went around reading the comments, from Youngblood fans, from other punks, getting some cheek from them, and I was looking at these comments, and I was thinking, no, yeah, you kind of got me there. I mean, I hate Youngblood's music, but now that I think about it, judging the quantum of someone's punk by what they dress is a very outdated way of thinking. They kind of patched that method in the 90s. Fuck it, I don't want you creeps seeing what's inside my closet. And I was thinking particularly about all this designer stuff, Why is designer anti-punk? What is it about designer clothing that makes them not punk? I get that fast fashion isn't punk, It's literally just, it's brain rot, And it's fucking up our planet. I have a whole video about it, about why I dislike it, like right here. I don't know, maybe you can click on one of the things. I don't know if I can do that. But what about designer? And it seems kind of like a stupid question to a lot of you. But I'm better than a lot of you. So, I was really philosophizing, really philosophicating, I don't know. I caught myself watching YouTube shorts the other day. Do you know how bad my brain rot has to be? But yeah, a lot of alternative scenes, particularly politically based ones like punk and goth, have evolved a lot since they first started blossoming in the 70s. Obviously the fashion has a lot, but also the ideology. Punk rock ideology has evolved a lot. Past this whole sort of anarchy in the UK type shit, Obviously, there's still a focus on the rejection of mainstream culture, but I would say that a lot of the ideology focuses now on politics rather than just mindless chaos and anarchy and shit, What I'm saying is you don't need to be an anarchist squatter who doesn't shower and lives like a bum without a job to be considered punk anymore. We've evolved past that. In fact, I think it's a safe assumption to say that if you asked a punk what they think about anarchy as an ideology, it would actually go somewhat like this. Hey bro, what do you think about a society which relies on sort of voluntary cooperation with no centralized government and we all self-govern each other, and there's no hierarchical power? I think that is the most dogshit idea ever. I think that it's a dogshit idea in the same way that communism is a dogshit idea, because knowing human beings, that's never gonna work. That's never gonna work. Even with proper law and order put in place, entire cities collapse when they fucking win a football game. What the fuck kind of chaos do you think is gonna ensure when we just completely take that law and order away? Do you think we're all gonna be living in harmony because, anarchism is the way to go? Yeah, alright bro, pack it up.
Wrap it up.
That was just a little example, but it does go to show how a lot of the ethics and the moral boundaries of what we consider alt have obviously changed. Or I would say improved, actually, quite a bit. They've improved quite a bit. We've gained more common sense. And with more alternative styles spawning from luxury brands, I think it's important to discuss whether an outfit like this, consisting of Rick Owens and chrome hearts, can really be considered alternative in a sense. And if you want to click off the video right now, if you want my answer right now, yes. Yes, I think they can be. That's not to say that they are alternative. That's to say they can be. There's a big difference between these two phrases, okay? Get it in your head. Before your whole fucking world flips upside down and you start, leaving a paragraph of hate comment.
Well, this contradicts everything that old fashion stands for, and, you're a poser and a retard, and I'm gonna start throwing my shit at the walls.
Just hold on. Hear me out. Because like I said, we've evolved since the 70s, okay? So let's not just go, completely reject the thought of a new idea or mindset that someone has just because it contradicts our traditional values, What are we, conservatives? And I can hear you guys saying, I can hear you guys typing,
A lot of alternative style is based around DIY and even anti-consumerism. Don't you think it's preposterous to suggest that designer brands can be punk when they aren't any of these things?
And to that, I say, yes. Yes, you're right. You're completely right.
Psych!
It is true, the individual designer pieces may be less creative than making them yourself, and obviously very expensive, completely contradicting what it means to be alternative. But I would go as far as to say that some of these brands, like Vivienne Westwood or Rick Owens and Chrome Hearts, actually share many similarities with what we would consider alternative fashion. The first being anti-consumerism. Because you look at the mindsets and production chains that these people and companies have, and it seems that they all see their products as more of artistic statements rather than fashion pieces to be pumped out. They have a more self-expressionist mindset when it comes to creating these clothes rather than a consumerist one. They're very skeptical of the fashion industry for the same reason that alternative people are. They all hate over consumerism and fast fashion. They see it as dog shit slop like we do. They hate the thought of just buying loads of shit to fill up a wardrobe and then buying loads of shit next season to fill up the wardrobe. Take Vivienne Westwood, for example. She was a punk in the 70s, straight up. And a lot of punks criticize her, you know, for selling out or whatever. But when you look at the things she says and her morals when it comes to creating fashion and jewelry, you can tell that the morals she learned from being a punk in the 70s have really stuck with her, you know? You can tell that that period of her life really affected her mindset when it comes to fashion, and you can see that she's still very passionate about things like over-consumerism and how it affects planet Earth. Matter of fact, the hallmark statement of the Vivienne Westwood brand is buy less, choose well, make it last. I mean, look for yourself how ethically and sustainably Vivienne Westwood products are made, and even the quality of her products. And in my opinion, that kind of justifies the price, you know? They might be being a bit cheeky with it, putting them really expensive, but you know, I guess they're a designer brand or whatever, you know? But the mindset that Vivienne Westwood has herself when it comes to fashion, that's pretty punk rock, in my opinion. This is fucking awesome. Are you kidding me? What's not to love about Vivienne Westwood? And why do punks dislike her so much? What, because she makes designer jewelry that's very expensive? You know, like, okay. She's getting that bag, yo. Oh, bro, she sold out. Oh, bro, she sold out, bro. She's not punk. Shut the fuck up. Sorry. Oh my god. I don't like you. Rick Owens as well. A lot of his products are like ethically made in places like Italy and France, which he has cultural roots to. And his whole brand is pretty much centered around this sort of don't buy my clothes unless you can't help it, sort of super minimalist, anti-consumerist type mindset that he has, which is also adopted from the punk rock scene from when he was younger. And obviously, there are so many designer brands that take advantage of cheap labor and mass-produce crappy products and still charge you a fortune just because it's designer. That's not to say that just because an outfit includes designer products, that doesn't make it alternative. You could look at a seemingly alternative looking outfit and say, well, spiritually, that's not alternative because it has like a chrome hearts or whatever. If chrome hearts products are designed and created within Hollywood with US labor laws, and they're handcrafted by skilled artisans rather than being mass produced in a factory, with the quality and design of the products and jewelry being prioritized over the quantity made or the frequency of production, this makes it like really sustainable because they're paying professionals to handcraft their jewelry. They're not outsourcing all their shit to Bangladesh where little kids are like in a fucking gold mine or some shit, you know what I mean? So heck, if supporting that kind of industry by buying their products makes you a consumerist and makes you anti-punk, then bro, I would still not be able to afford their jewelry. So, you know. And yeah, you could argue, you know, it's not homemade or it's not anti-mainstream or whatever, but like, in the words of a wise band, so what? At the end of the day, you know, they're winning ethically, and that's a rare W for the fashion industry to be making ethical clothes. And you know, if it was a similar brand with similar prices, which isn't classified as designer, I bet the general alternative consensus to those brands would say that they're kind of valid. Like Patagonia, for example. They're made completely ethically and sustainably, you know, with products that are made to last. The brand itself focuses on anti-consumerism. So yeah, it makes sense that their products are a bit more expensive, but worth it, right? Considering that they're built to last a lifetime. There's not actually any ethical problem with labeling yourself alternative while wearing a Patagonia rain jacket, right? But imagine if Patagonia was labeled as designer, you know? Imagine if Patagonia was owned by like Michael Patagonia or something. I bet there would fucking be a bunch of mindless geeks who'd be like, you're not punk, you're not alt, you're wearing Patagonia. That's designer. So my question to you guys is, when there's ethically made, anti-consumerist, sustainable clothing that's built to last a lifetime, which is not only ethically, but also aesthetically pretty alternative, pretty cool, why do you guys have such a problem with it? A mother brother will say you're not a real punk or whatever for wearing Vivienne Westwood, and then go eat a burger or some grilled chicken, as if the meat industry isn't like twice as destructive as the fast fashion that they're complaining about, bro. We talk so much about over-consuming music and fashion and media that we don't actually stop and think what we're physically consuming and how that affects the planet, which is probably a bigger problem for the environment. So I ask you, if you can't be alternative while consuming designer brands, can you really be alternative while consuming animal products? If you have to abstain from designer fashion and mainstream expensive brands and even fast fashion to be considered alternative, do you have to abstain from animal products and become a vegan to be considered alternative in the same way? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's genuinely just a thought. Like, I'm not dissing anyone. It's a genuine thought, you know, just food for thought. But I don't digress, as in I go off topic into like a semi-unrelated point of conversation. I've touched upon it in previous videos, but it's a part of the reason why I think a lot of the punk mindsets and ethics are very outdated. And honestly, I think that punk as a philosophy either has to completely die out or completely evolve as times change in order to adapt, to be more logical and more current to social climates. But yeah, no, those are just some of my thoughts on the subject. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm aware that this might be a pretty controversial opinion, and there's likely to be some very good responses in the comments discussing why they disagree. And I encourage that. I don't want to be stuck in a little echo chamber of my own opinion, especially if people think I'm incorrect. But I want people to let me know why they think I'm incorrect as well. Just like they did in the Youngblood video, which actually led me to formulating this opinion in the first place. But I also want you guys to stay like open-minded to what I have to say and the opinions stated in this video, not just instantly disagreeing with me from seeing the title or whatever. For the sake of progression, you know? For the sake of rejecting cultural norms rather than keeping them just because they're cultural. Which, I mean, isn't that what being alternative is all about at the end of the day? Anyway, I guess I'll see you guys in like the next video. I've got some doom scrolling to do. I've got some YouTube shorts to get back to. Some serious unemployment activities, you know?